Good morning viewers and welcome to today's session of Ask a Doc. I am Dr. Saira Sokwala. I am a consultant physician and endocrinologist and the head of the Diabetes Care Center at the MP Shah Hospital. Today we are here once again to discuss on a very relevant topic, which is diabetes. And what's quite interesting is that we have already got a number of questions from some of you, and we are here to answer those questions one by one. So the first question that we have, which is a very common question which many people ask, is what is diabetes? So what is diabetes? We've heard diabetes causes this, diabetes causes that. Diabetes is a condition which is associated with the problem in utilization or using of your sugar, your proteins or your cholesterol or lipids. And that is brought about due to either a problem in production of insulin or a problem in the functioning of insulin. So then you're asking, what is insulin? Insulin is actually a hormone which is like a key that is produced by a part of your body which lies below the stomach, which is known as the pancreas. And the pancreas produces insulin in response to the sugars that we eat or to the food that we eat. So when we eat food, it gives a signal to the pancreas to produce insulin. And like I said, insulin is like keys. So insulin goes with the sugar to different parts of the body, and there are certain parts which are used to produce energy in the body, which is like the fat and the muscle of the body. And these organs, they require this key to open the doors for the sugar to go inside the cells. And when the sugar goes in, you get energy. So when you don't have the key, that is when you don't have insulin, when your body cannot produce insulin, or the insulin that is there cannot open the door or enter into the keyhole to open the door, then that causes the sugar to continue moving in the blood, and that is what is known as then diabetes. Okay? And there are different types of diabetes, the details of which we may not want to go into so much, but just to know that there are 4 different categories. That is type 1 diabetes, where there is no insulin production; type 2 diabetes, which is the more common type of diabetes related to lifestyle, and I think some of the questions are related to that, as we shall discuss them, and it has its own risks associated. Then you have got gestational diabetes, which is diabetes which specifically comes in pregnancy, due to the hormones related to pregnancy, and resolves after pregnancy, but puts women at increased risk of diabetes later on in their life. Then you have got the other specific type of diabetes, which could include diseases of the pancreas, from where insulin comes out, or hormonal problems, or certain genetic problems which cause people to have diabetes. So these are the different types of diabetes. So there's a very interesting question which says, can I get rid of diabetes? Will it ever go away? And this is a question which many patients have in their mind. So unfortunately, there is no one clear answer to this. Yeah? If you have diabetes which comes in pregnancy, is due to pregnancy, once the pregnancy is over, or you give birth, or with the cesarean section, or whichever, or natural delivery, then what happens is the sugars immediately come down, and many of the times tend to remain normal, but like I said, it can put you at risk of type 2 diabetes later on in life. Still, we can't say that will completely go away, but at least 50% of the women after about 5 to 10 years do tend to develop diabetes after gestational diabetes. If you have got type 1 diabetes, of course we can't say that it will go away unless you get a pancreatic transplant, but when you do that, then you can say that diabetes has resolved. There are certain, for type 2 diabetes now, there are certain procedures and certain methods that we can follow to say that we have actually got remission of type 2 diabetes, like dietary changes or bariatric surgery. If you are morbidly obese, if you are a candidate for bariatric surgery, after bariatric surgery, we have seen remission, which we call as diabetes going back to levels which are for normal individuals. However, there is still a risk of getting a relapse or getting back that type 2 diabetes later in life. There are certain cases where we can try to go into remission with diabetes, but saying that it will completely go away is a difficult question to totally answer. Another very nice question that we have is, does a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes mean I will have to go on insulin? So like I said, type 2 diabetes is mainly related to lifestyle factors, and type 2 diabetes is when your insulin is being produced, at least initially, but it cannot work well because of different reasons which I mentioned as the risk factors for type 2 diabetes. So initially what happens is that with type 2 diabetes, your insulin cannot work. So what happens is that the sugar is still circulating in the blood, and it keeps on giving a signal to the factory of insulin production to keep on producing more and more insulin. So initially you've got increased insulin, which later on starts going downwards. So in the early phases of type 2 diabetes, majority of the patients do not need insulin for treatment, because what we need is more of lifestyle modification with a heavy focus on diet and physical activity. Along with that, a few medicines which help your body to to work better with the insulin that is being produced. So there is insulin production initially. That is why these patients can be managed effectively with lifestyle modification and some form of tablet related therapies. Later on in life, about 5 to 10 years of diagnosis, many of our patients do end up requiring some form of insulin. But if your control has been very good in the beginning with good lifestyle modification, then your requirement for insulin, we have seen, is significantly delayed or comes in later on. So early good control is very, very important for diabetes. Another question that I have is, will I need to be on insulin for the rest of my life? Why can't I take pills instead? So this is a question which again depends on the type of diabetes that you have. For example, if you have type 1 diabetes or another form of diabetes which is known as LADA, which is still a form of diabetes of type 1, which occurs later in life after the age of 30 years. But what these forms mean is that your body's capacity for insulin production is low. And even later in the course of type 2 diabetes, when your body's insulin production has gone down, you most probably would need insulin. Especially for patients with type 1 diabetes, they definitely need insulin for life. However, if you have other forms of diabetes, like especially type 2 diabetes, you could discuss with your doctor, with your healthcare provider, and try and see if you could be on a combination of insulin with pills. Also, patients who have other problems, like for example, if you have got a kidney disease or you're on dialysis, then these are the patients who would most probably need insulin along with other tablets to be able to control their diabetes. But what is important to understand is which type of diabetes we are having and why specifically the doctor has put you on insulin. So then the question that I was going to, what are some of the things that put someone at risk of developing diabetes? So when we look at the risk factors for diabetes, like depending on which type of diabetes again we are looking at, but if you are looking at type 1 diabetes, which is usually occurs in childhood, in younger individuals less than 30 years of age, related to not being able to produce any insulin by your pancreas. And the risk factors for that is having a family history or a genetic predisposition. And also sometimes what has been postulated is certain viral infections. However, the exact cause of that is not known, but what it does is that your own immune system starts fighting against your own cells of the pancreas and reduces the production of insulin. So the exact risk factors for that is not known. That is why it is not known how we can prevent type 1 diabetes, although a lot of research is going on in that category. The one that we look at with risk factors more is type 2 diabetes, which is related to either modifiable or non-modifiable risk factors. So modifiable means you can do something about. Not modifiable is you can't do anything about them. So an increasing age, for example, being over the age of 45 years significantly puts you at risk of type 2 diabetes. That is why the screening is recommended after the age of 45 years in individuals, in all individuals. Then other risk factors are like having a family history. Type 2 diabetes is strongly related to having a family history of diabetes, either in your immediate family or even in your distant family. Then you've got modifiable risk factors which you could do something about, like overweight and obesity is one of the biggest risk factors for type 2 diabetes. You need to know what your normal weight should be. There is a different cutoff for Asians and non-Asians. For those who are not Asian, not from the Asian ancestry, the BMI cutoff is at 25. So BMI is your weight divided by the height squared. And that tells you that if that figure is more than 25, then you are overweight. If it is more than 30, then definitely you are obese already. And now we know that obesity is actually a disease entity on its own. So when you have that, then that puts you at a significant risk of diabetes type 2. And the other risk factors is unhealthy eating, like eating high carbohydrate diets, high diets rich in saturated fats, and the other risk is not exercising. So poor physical activity. Ideally, you're supposed to be, physically active on a day-to-day basis, and what is recommended is at least 30 minutes of, moderate intensity physical activity per day for all individuals, most individuals that is. Another risk factor is smoking. And we have many other risk factors, but these are the main ones. Having high blood pressure, having high cholesterol also puts an individual at risk for diabetes type 2, and also pre-diabetes, which is a condition between type 2 diabetes or any diabetes and normal, whereby your sugars are in the borderline category. So these are some of the risk factors which put an individual at risk. For women who have polycystic ovary syndrome, for women who have had diabetes in a previous pregnancy, those are also risk factors for type 2 diabetes. Another question is, I was recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Do I need to see an endocrinologist? And the answer to that is yes. If you can actually get access to an endocrinologist, that is the best that you can do for yourself, because an endocrinologist would understand the core deep pathophysiology, the mechanisms of that diabetes, and be able to guide you through your management. However, if you cannot get access to an endocrinologist, you could at least go and see a physician at the bare minimum to be able to guide you and see whether you are on the right track with your medications. We currently have a lot of new drugs in the market, but they all have to be taken with quite a lot of caution because they all have their individual side effects. And so it is better to see a specialist before you are being initiated on any of the drug therapies that are available out there. Then another good question is, what should my fasting and normal blood sugar be? So if you don't have diabetes, then of course the sugars that we are looking at, which is the criteria for diagnosis of diabetes, is if your fasting sugar is less than 5.6, then that is the normal fasting blood sugar. If it is between 5.6 and 7, then that is impaired fasting sugar, which means that you are in pre-diabetes range, which puts you at a high risk of developing type 2 diabetes and also at a higher risk of other complications related to diabetes. And if your fasting sugar is more than 7, then that is in the diabetes category. You need to see a doctor and you need to be assessed further. If your after food readings, like 2 hour after food or after a glucose load, is actually less than 7.8, that is considered normal. Between 7.8 and 11 is considered pre-diabetes or impaired glucose tolerance, and above 11 is considered diabetes, especially if you have got symptoms of diabetes. So this is diagnosis, but if you have diabetes, then what are the categories that we are looking at? So that also has to be very individualized. For example, the normal values or the fasting sugar target values or the after food target values, we look at for patients who are non-pregnant, and those who are pregnant are very different. Again, the levels that we are trying to achieve for a 90-year-old elderly gentleman who has got many other complications is different from a young patient who is very motivated and who we want to achieve tighter controls. So on average, the kind of sugars that we are looking at is a fasting sugar target between 4 to 6 and maximum of 7 millimoles per liter, and a 2 hours after food reading of between 4.5 or even let's say 5 to 8 millimoles per liter at a maximum of 10 for the higher risk groups who can easily go into very low sugars. So between 5.8 to 8 is, between 5 to 8 would be an optimal 2 hours after food reading that we are looking at. But remember, these goals have to be individualized per the patient that we are looking at and with the complications that that patient has. We can only take one more question. And this is a question which says that, is it true that complications of diabetes can be delayed and even prevented? This is a $1 million question, and this is basically true. Complications of diabetes can potentially be delayed and prevented, and how that can happen is by very good, first of all, by identifying that a person has diabetes early on. So if you have risk factors which we have discussed for diabetes, and then you need to go and get your blood sugar tested. If you have classic symptoms of diabetes, you need to get your blood sugar tested. Or if there is any screening going on, then you preferably please do go, especially if you are over the age of 45, you are overweight or obese, and you have any of the risk factors we have discussed. Get your sugars checked, and so that diabetes is diagnosed early on if it is there. Type 2 diabetes could stay for 3 to 7 years before it is diagnosed, and you could have complications already setting in at the time of diagnosis. So get your blood sugars assessed, have diabetes picked early. Once it is diagnosed, then you make sure that you are in the right kind of hands and your sugars are kept under control, your cholesterol is kept under control, your blood pressures are kept under control, your weight is kept under control. When all these risk factors are kept under control, then the risk of complications can be delayed or even prevented altogether. At the MP Shah Hospital, we are providing a full-fledged multidisciplinary diabetes care center. We have a full-fledged diabetes care center which provides all the facilities that are required for a diabetes care in the most comprehensive way possible, where we have the endocrinologists or diabetologists, diabetes specialists, we have the nurse educators, we have nutritionists on board, we have the eye specialists, we have a podiatrist, a foot specialist who comes once a week. We also have an arrangement for physical activity. And so if you want to get access to our center, we are available at the diabetes. We are actually located at the Diabetes Care Center in Dinesh Chandaria Medical Center at the MP Shah Hospital. And in fact, to book an appointment, you can actually call one of our contacts, which is 020-4291-365 or 020-4291-342, and you can get yourself booked in. We see patients on appointment basis and would be glad to have you to follow up in our center, which is also included with laboratory right there and also a pharmacy which is operational within the center. So welcome to see you there.